Today we're going to be making our bread dough into rolls. The first thing we need to do is to divide our bread evenly so that we have all of our rolls evenly, or you can decide to just divide it by your hand with your hands and eyeball it. So I'm going to cut this in half, then pull one of them aside, make sure it's kind of evenly done, cut it in half again, and then do it again. And then again. And that's still a bit big for a roll. You're going to have loaves of bread if you use that size. So we're going to divide it one more time, which makes it about that big. That looks about right to me. So that's how we divide our bread. Now, once you have your dough divided and you see that some of them are a little odd size, see like this one's huge or this one's small, it's definitely okay to pull a little bit off of this one and add it to this one and see if you can get them about the same size. They don't have to be exact, but it makes a difference. Then you have more evenly spaced stuff. We have divided our bread dough into 32 rolls, which means when you first quartered it, so you had 4 huge balls, each ball was divided into 8 pieces. Now I'm going to move this aside and cover it with a towel so that it doesn't dry out while we show you how to form it into rolls. Now, before we start forming our dough balls, we need to put a little bit of oil on our baking sheet. You can use a cookie sheet or a stone cookie sheet is what I have, which works excellent. It makes the dough lighter and fluffier and a lot softer for whole wheat, but it still works great on any kind of a cookie sheet that you have or in a pan. So we want to put our oil on and spread it around, and then because we're doing whole wheat, it's kind of a little bit sticky, so I take whatever oil's on my hand and spread it around. You don't want too much, but get my hands greasy, then I can work with the balls. So I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to take one of the balls from under my towel, and we're going to lay the smoothest side down in my hand, and then I'm going to push in and tuck. Push in and tuck. The reason we push in and tuck is we want to get a tight top. A tight top makes your rolls just do their thing a whole lot better. So you just push in and tuck, and push in and tuck, and you may feel bubbles popping. That's a good thing because you want all those bubbles evenly distributed in your stuff. So once you get it pretty smooth on top, then I usually do it this way, but so you could see it, I was flipping it up. Okay, it's pretty smooth on top. Now if it isn't all stuck together here, then you pinch it to make sure it stays closed, otherwise it'll all explode. Now that I have it as a ball, then I'm going to roll the top of it in the oil a little bit and then slide it over into a corner. Now we're going to repeat that. We're going to do it again. So I have a ball, kind of squish it together, put the prettiest side down, and we're going to tuck it. And it's important that it like kind of sticks to your hand so it keeps it smooth. It can pull and tuck and pull and tuck and pull and tuck until it's pretty smooth. And then you hold it, make it into a ball. Is it all together? If not, pinch it. Roll the smooth side in your oil and then slide it over next to the other one. You want them to be tight. That gets them to rise up instead of out. Instead of making a cookie or a muffin or something, you end up with rolls that rise up. So let's do that one more time so we make sure you got it. Okay. Lay it in your hand. We're going to pull and slide, so you just pull and tuck. And I like to spin it. Pull and tuck. Pull and tuck again. And it's looking pretty smooth and feels pretty tight. Okay, and it looks pretty, it's all together. We roll it in the oil and flip it over again. That's what it takes for this part. Occasionally you may have to add a little bit more oil, and you also might have to add a little bit more to your fingers. You just dab just a little bit. If the dough starts sticking to you, rub it on again and go at it again and make another roll. Okay, now we're adding our last two, and on my cookie sheet it's pretty tight, so I'm getting some oil on the end, and I'm just going to stick it right in here. If your cookie sheet's a little bigger, you may actually have extra space at the end, which is okay. It's good. So we're going to dab it in there, flip it over. Okay, now is when I turn my oven on, because I want these to rise out here before I stick them in the oven. I usually don't cover them if the weather's good, if the house is warm, if whatever, because when I take the towel off, sometimes it makes them flatten. So I leave it uncovered. I'm going to start my oven at 410 degrees and let these rise until it gets to temperature. Okay, my oven has just beeped saying it's ready. Yours may take a little longer, so your bread will have more time to rise and look a little more risen than this. But this works for me. So I'm going to take this and put it in my oven on the middle with the rack in the middle and do it for about 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less. Okay, now my bread is done. The way I can tell is when you thump it. See that hollow sound? Wonderful. And then you pull some and see how it's golden browned on the bottom? That's how you know that it is done. If in doubt, you can rip it open and see if it's dry in the middle. And now that it is done, we are going to butter the tops. It makes it all stay soft and just really enhances the flavor. So you just rub butter, or some people use oil, whatever your preference is. I personally like butter. You rub it on the tops and then let it cool. Once it's completely cooled, you can store it in Ziploc bags or an airtight container.